Welcome to Dear Sweet and Low.
Welcome.
I'm Low,
I'm Coach Sweet.
and today we're going to be talking about different ways to break up with someone.
Ultimately, we're going to give you a 3-part process on how to make a breakup as painless as possible. It doesn't have to be a type 4 hurricane. It can be a tropical storm versus damage done. It does not have to be crushing. It's gonna hurt anyway.
It doesn't have to be. It's gonna be.
It's gonna hurt anyway, but it doesn't have to be like an amputation. It can just be like, all right, I need some stitches. I need some self-care days. I need some antibiotics.
They're gonna need the other person gonna need more than stitches, though, regardless.
If you're doing the breaking up, yes.
Yeah.
If you, a lot of people, a lot of couples have already come to that decision, but one of them is hesitant about taking the step. Like somebody's got to be the instigator because either you've been going through months of fighting, the situation is just not getting any better. Like most people don't just want to come out and say, we're not good for each other. We're not a good match.
Yeah.
It's not you. It's not me. It's actually like our personalities just don't work together. Like the timing of our romance is not great. Like there's a lot of different reasons that people can break up and make it more amicable, as in friendly.
Or they don't think you're hot enough. Shallow.
Okay.
You know,
don't
people
think you're hot enough.
People break up with people because they're not that attracted to them.
Maybe if it's like the third date.
You don't think people break up with somebody else because they don't find them as attractive?
The longer term you are with somebody, the less that you think like that.
Yeah, you're right. But I've seen people do it though.
Were they always that shallow?
Hmm?
I mean, are they okay?
They lost so many women. It's that I lost attraction for him. I don't think he's that good looking. He gained weight.
Oh, sure,
Yeah,
right.
Like they lose.
Is that why they break up though?
Yeah,
or is that just one of the reasons?
No,
There's always more than one.
I mean, that's the reason to say, like, oh, he like changed. He gained weight and stuff.
He stopped caring about himself.
Yeah.
He stopped taking care of the package that was so alluring in the first place.
So what
Actually, you're right. I'm thinking of like so many different women. This is like a deja vu moment for me, big time.
Yeah.
Where tons of females who quiet leave a relationship, they do it because 10 years into the relationship, the dude that they were with who took care of himself, who ate a good diet, he was on it. He was on it. It mattered to him how he looked, felt, responded. But then, just like some females, this guy, they got comfy.
Yeah, I said it in the wrong way though. You know what I'm saying? I said he's not hot enough, but at the end of the day, he just stopped. He stopped caring of himself. But
sure.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I could have said it nicer.
Now I know what you meant.
He didn't take care of him. He didn't
blindness.
take care of himself.
Sure.
No,
sure.
Like,
he got comfortable and he started having a romance with potato chips or whatever it was. Yeah. It was like
he wasn't hot enough anymore. I'm just kidding.
Well, the physical very much is a big component of relationships.
It's not the only. But I'm saying some people.
Right.
I'm just saying some people break up because of that reason.
Yes.
Not a lot of people, but some people do.
I think you're right, though. When we put it in terms like that, a large majority of them go the other way. Because once the attraction fizzles, I mean, you can still be friends, but if you're constantly being tempted by other things on the outside world... Mm-hmm.
Especially the social media day and age.
Yes.
All those people. You can just meet. You can just fly and go meet somebody in 3 hours. And people are in people's DMs all the time.
This is true.
Oh, I know you.
In 3 hours, he's getting so specific.
No.
There's a story behind that, and maybe we'll tell you in Patreon.
No, a lot of flights are 3 hours long. Do you think so?
For Vegas?
Yeah, it's a lot of 3 hours.
We're in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
I mean, we can go to LA or something.
A lot of flights. They're gonna make it 3 hours somewhere or another.
That's true. Like,
like
Chicago,
3 hours.
Seattle,
3 hours.
2.5 or something. Yeah. Houston.
3.
You're going
Dallas.
Anyway.
3.
Anyway, okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a good excuse.
No, but I'm saying you can just go somewhere quick so people are... I think it's easier to cheat now than ever before.
I will slightly contradict that. in that a lot of people don't think about the trail that they leave on social media and through texting, and you know what I mean? Like, lots of people used to cheat. Cheating has never not been around,
It's always been around,
but now there's so many more digital evidence of that.
Mhm.
Like, you can
Oh, they didn't have evidence back then.
right. Like, they didn't have phone records they could access. They didn't have DMs or texts or looking on Facebook, or if you know nothing about clearing your cookies, there's so many ways that you could figure
Yeah, but
if your partner's
I
cheating.
think cheating is more now because the dating pool is larger.
I see what you mean.
Because
The opportunity,
yeah,
yes.
back in the day, it was like people in your town, like people near you and
Right.
stuff.
Right.
But what if you
Especially
don't like?
if you traveled.
What if you don't like a lot of people in your town? But
Sure,
now you can
don't-
get different flavors from anywhere else. That you,
Sleep where you eat. Sure.
yeah, and you can just go online
Yep.
and send a DM to a random guy somewhere, like far away.
Ballsy. Sure.
No girls do it. I didn't know it was real until.
Speaking from experience?
Yeah, no, I'm speaking from experience.
Just randomly.
I get random DMs all the
You're
time.
sure they're real people, not bots? No, I believe you. I believe you. But the whole bot thing
Why are you trying to
right
defend
now
these?
is, I'm
Why
not.
are you trying to defend
I'm
women?
not. I'm just saying online. People
Guys do
who
it
like
too.
are like cutting to the chase. Like, everything is a scam anymore.
No, these are real. You go on their page, you'll see
Yeah.
them with their little boyfriends.
Doing their things.
or
Oh,
whatever
so
they-
they just out. They're
No,
hunting.
people are like, they don't care.
God, I'm old.
People do that. No, I'm saying guys do it too.
Yeah, I totally think would think that guys do it.
Yeah, we do it too, but we're not as
Like a
good.
punch.
We're not as good at doing it as women. Though women are very calculated when it comes to doing things like that.
Traditionally speaking, we are much better at framing a friendly conversation. Yes.
Yeah, and then you
That
got,
starts off as like super low key and then secretly develops into something else.
and men are less likely to go tell your husband or tell your boyfriend.
Yeah, they don't want to do that.
Yeah,
No.
men are, but women will go tell.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so
If they think they've been played,
Yeah, they'll
they
go
gonna
say-
burn that house down.
yeah, so
Yes. The guy is just like, well, like,
so back to how
Okay.
to break up with somebody.
There's so many different ways. There's ghosting, which is amazingly popular, and the depth of its cowardly nature never fails to surprise me. How you can say a whole bunch of things to somebody and treat them in such a way that makes them think like, hey, you're actually going to be in my life. It doesn't have to be full-time commitment, but you're actually going to be in my life. And then poof, gone. No text, no nothing, even though there's some kind of constant like, hey, are you okay? But thinking of the different stages of ghosting to me just blows my mind. Of like, you're worried about them at first, and then you're mad at them, and then you go back to being worried about them. Like, did they die in a car accident? Like, of course they probably didn't. But like the cruelty of that. The cruelty, simply because the person who's doing the ghosting does not have the balls to sit with their emotions of like, this is making me uncomfortable. I have to deal with my disappointment that this relationship isn't what I wanted, isn't what I needed, and I can't keep fulfilling it. Like,
I think the people that are more inclined to ghost are like people pleasers. I think they're more inclined to ghost.
Okay.
I'll tell you why. Because they, in their head, people pleasers usually don't like confrontation. They
Correct.
don't like to like
right.
argue or make somebody mad or this or that. So in their head, the best way to do it is just disappear because I'm not gonna have to like confront them about anything.
Right.
But really, you're hurting
Coward.
them more
Yes, you are.
for not
Yes.
letting them know how you really feel, how you really think you're. It's like you said, it's the cowardly way out.
It's death by 1,000 cuts, as they say, versus like one straight arrow. Like, if you're gonna do the deed, do the deed. Don't let that person suffer. Like, just cut. You need a very sharp knife and go whack.
Yeah.
Know where you're going to strike. But then again, don't wait. There's there's other ways to do this. I'm not saying take a knife to the person you want to break up with at all. I'm not.
Don't ghost.
Anyway.
Don't ghost.
Don't ghost. Don't orbit. Because that is nothing but false hope. Not only you are a coward, but you're also fickle. So you're contrary. Orbiting being, I'm going to leave and then come back, and then leave and come back. And generally, what they're doing during that leave and come back cycle is they've gotten attracted or distracted by another potential conquest, but they're always going to come back because you know they'll take you back. Which is, I love the whole idea of the orbiting thing. So, like, you're an asteroid that every 15 years or something, you're going to pop back into somebody's life and confess. So, true story for this one. I have a friend of mine who's in one of my writers group, and she's such a cool person, but she's married, and the person that she used to date 20 years ago is married. But every so often, he will occasionally pop up and send her a card or some flowers that say, I never got over you. Which is like orbiting. Like, I'm always going to make you remember this time, even though we're both in relationships. It's kind of like a dirty dog kind of thing to do. Of just like, I want you to remember me, that nobody was ever as great of a lover or love interest as me, just so you feel the same way. Just so we realize that we're kind of caught, and it's like a twinkle of like something on the horizon. It's not going to interfere with anything. You're not going to run off and be together, but hey, guess what? I'm still here. It's kind of an asshole thing to do.
Yeah. People do that all the time.
Yes, they do. Just popping up, just like, hey, just wanted to say hi.
I've done that a couple times.
To females that you knew were deeply into you?
That I knew was deeply into me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've done that before where I just hit them like, hey, how you doing? How's everything going?
Yeah. You wouldn't do that to somebody who's just ambivalent.
I don't. No, but I don't say I didn't forget you or anything like that.
What do you say to them?
Just check up on them. How you doing?
Why? Is it like a kindness thing? Because you want to be friends?
No, it's like when somebody pop up in your mind, you're like, hey, how you doing?
Right.
But because I'm single, so it doesn't matter. I can check up on my old people.
Right.
But I wouldn't be checking up with anybody if I'm in a relationship.
Unless they were like real friends.
Yeah, but I'm not really friends with people that I've...
Anybody. You're not friends with anybody that you've ever broken up with. And I don't mean like close buddies, like best of friends. I mean like...
acquaintances.
Okay.
Cordial.
That still means,
but I'm
like
not
you don't hate their guts. Like,
there's
a spectrum.
I don't hate anybody that I've dated.
Right.
I actually don't have any hate, but I just don't talk to them.
Yeah, because why would you?
I'm not friends
at some point,
with them.
it's like not. It's not.
I don't believe in being friends with your ex. She's like, I disagree.
If you have a good reason to, I'm friends with my ex because we share a daughter, and that's a good reason.
No, that's the only reason. She's like, all right, what other reason?
Some people are in your life for a day, a season, or a lifetime, right? Have you ever heard that saying? Like the people who are in your life for a season, maybe you dated, but you really should have been just friends. Like you were really looking to be just friends with that person.
Yeah, but once you didn't.
Yeah, once you cross that boundary,
you can't go back. You gotta let him go.
Yes.
You gotta let him go.
Yeah.
Once you cross.
Possibly. I mean.
Yeah.
If you had like a long-term relationship though, like nobody knows you like that person. So just to completely discount like, hey, how they're going to do and how they're going to go in life, I don't know. But I also deeply believe in different soulmates too, that you're really supposed to, and the people that you're supposed to connect with, they were in your life for a reason. They're always going to be in your life for a reason.
All right, what's the other ways to get over a breakup? To break up with someone. Ghost.
Yes.
Remember,
texting.
Guys, don't ghost.
Don't ghost. Don't orbit. Why would you? You're not an asteroid, yo.
I was an orbiter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did that give you?
We don't orbit no more, though. Huh?
Yeah. Did it give you anything? Other than just like, might as well.
No, you break up with them. And then you start missing them, so you orbit back.
And then you remember.
And you remember why you broke up.
You broke up, and then you're just like
out
to the solar system once again.
Yeah.
Okay. Then there's the text breakup. I'm not a fan of this one if it's been a long-term relationship. If it's been like a month or so, yeah, okay. And you're doing something, but maybe leave the texting to something that wasn't that serious. So you can like explain it. Some people prefer it's a version of a letter, of like a letter you'd get in the mail, what they used to call a Dear John. So like kids who would go off to war, like World War II or something, and then they would get a letter from their supposed girlfriend that's like the Dear John letter that says, "Hey, I have to move on. I'm so sorry because you're fighting in a war and you're probably gonna die." Those are really hard.
So Dear John means letter of breakup?
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah. During war times. They're over someplace, maybe not, but just during service for military people. They're somewhere else doing a very hard job in which the connection to home, the fact that they've gone to war for the love of home, for the love of their partner or family, that's a big thing for morale. Like that could be the difference between I'm going to make it out of this alive and I think I'm just going to wander into this like landmine.
Dang, that's painful.
Isn't
Imagine
that hardcore?
like being in love with somebody, you're away, you patiently waiting one day to see them again, and then they send you a letter and say,
yes, out of the blue.
They found somebody else.
Yeah, I'm risking my life every single day in the hopes of coming home to you.
Wow.
Yeah.
Sometimes when you're going through some crazy shit,
right,
just think about how much worse other people have it.
Mm-hmm.
That it could be way worse.
It could be way worse.
Way, way worse.
Every single thing can be way worse.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's the text, aka the letter, or the email. If you're one of these wordy people and you've really got to break it down, my suggestion for that is write the email first, but do not send it. You need to sleep on it and then revisit it and keep, make it a 3-part process of, I'm going to start with something like, hey, this is what I really admire about you, but this is what's not working. I hope we can be friends or whatever. Okay. So if you're been in that kind of relationship and you really think that it's disrespectful to break up with somebody over a text. So this was an actual relationship you thought was going to go somewhere. Both of you did. You made plans to like say, hey, we're going to be exclusive now. Or move in together. Or potentially, there's wedding bells in the future. All of those apply. Up until the point where you actually get married. Then there's this, what I would call the 3-part process of you plan for the breakup, you execute the breakup, and then you recover. As in, you've got to do a post-breakup ritual that helps you heal so you're not stuck in all of the trauma that might have been created through the breakup. So it's, instead of reacting, you're developing a response to a breakup. It's not just complete instinct, complete fear response, complete fright response, Okay, so let's say that you, my dear listener, you've come to that realization. You can no longer stay with your partner for whatever reason. Right? There could be, it's a distance thing, your personalities don't match, they've developed into some kind of spiral behavior that has to do with addiction or abuse. Like it's just not working and they're miserable, they're making you miserable, or you're miserable and you're making them miserable. It's got to end. So recognizing that feeling of deep disappointment, right? It's almost like, like a heaviness drops into your whole body at the thought of, I'm going to have this conversation and we're going to have to start like dividing things and you take your stuff and I'll take mine. And then there's loneliness and the fears of rejection, all that stuff. Just taking notice of that feeling, but also planning, how do I proceed with this with the best intentions in mind? Mm-hmm. Okay. So if you're a client and you've come to me and you're just like, okay, I know for sure that this isn't going to work. We go through the system. And in the planning stage, I like to play a best case, worst case scenario game. Best case scenario is a visualization of get in a very comfortable position. We're doing breathing techniques and we're actually visualizing the best case scenario for the breakup. Meaning you go to your lover or your friend and you're sitting with them and saying like, I can't do this anymore. Here are my reasons. Some of it's about me, some of it's about you. I want to explain to you what's going on with me, but I am leaving. Like having that, none of this breadcrumbing stuff, none of this, it was all your fault, you did it, peace out, all that kind of stuff. And of course, I'm saying this for people who are not afraid for their lives. Like if you break up with somebody, they're going to turn against you and potentially, I don't know, like try and get you arrested or hurt you or, if you're in that situation, the quiet exit is definitely, you've got to do that. You've got to have a support team to get you out of there. Yeah. Anyway, just a normal breakup though, okay? Normal breakup. Then worst case scenario. So you have the best case in mind and you're actually thinking of this person, of just saying goodbye to them in the most loving way, and they understand it's not working for them either, and they're not going to get what they want out of it either, and you guys can part as friends and do your own healing. And then there's worst case, where it's like the worst of the worst. How is this person absolutely going to react in the way that they're throwing things, they're burning your stuff on the lawn, they're going to all your family members and telling them these horrible things about you? Like, you have to realize both sides of the scenario and the fact that reality is probably going to live somewhere in the middle. Mm-hmm. If you do this, you're so far ahead of anybody who's ever thought of breaking up with anybody ever. Because nobody ever does the thing of, let me plan this out in a way that is not only respectful for me, but the person that I'm with. They don't. They cheat. They lie. They start picking stupid fights with their mate. They do a million different things to signal to their partner, I'm not happy, I want to leave, or make a grand gesture so I stay. That's what they do.
Yeah.
Step number 2, execution. Breaker-upper, you will pick a neutral place to do this. Preferably a park, preferably maybe like someplace where you can be alone, but you're not alone. There's other people in the vicinity. You can move around and walk. There's nothing that, you're not in a library or something where or a restaurant, a crowded restaurant, where you're constantly having to contend with other people's opinions to help you get you through this kind of stuff. Movement is good. Doing something active together is good. So it helps when all that anxiety and all of the fear and all the anger come up, or the feelings of betrayal come up. They have a way to process through your body so you don't keep them and then turn them against your partner. It's like, you told me this, you promised me this. Well, things change. Step number 3 is recovery. You gotta have a recovery ritual. Even if you're the one who's leaving, even if you're the one who's saying, like, wait a minute, like, I've already found somebody else that I potentially want to date and I want to move on. I don't need recovery at all. That's...
Yeah, and people ignore recovery. They try to just go by the saying, time is going to heal. But you can have strategies put in place so you recover faster than just let it take its own course, which can take a lot longer than it needs to. Mm-hmm.
If I sprain my ankle, I'm not going to pretend that I didn't hurt it. And then just keep training like I normally would, or keep going about my life like I normally would. Like, that is an injury. Your heart is undergoing an injury. Your brain is undergoing injury. It's actually a physical thing in your body. So loving recovery rituals would be, if that person is just left and they're mad at you or whatever, but you still have stuff to say to them, it's journaling to them. Not necessarily giving it to them. Don't give it to them unless they ask for it. But you're journaling to them all of the feelings that came up. Hey, I loved this when we used to do this. This was a great memory of mine. These are the things that drove me crazy. Doing a pros and cons somewhat helps you stick to your guns. Because, how many people have broken up only to get back together and break up again and keep going through that cycle because there's still something they haven't learned something in that situation. They haven't gotten to, I don't know, get even bases of like, okay, we exhausted all the resources. We actually really aren't good for each other.
Yeah.
Peace out. Sometimes that's just what you do. What would your recovery method be? Say you just broke up with someone. She's a nice girl. She's great. She's just not the one. Just not the one for you.
Yeah, I mean, it's similar to what you just said. Like, I'm gonna state all the positive things about the person, like the things I enjoyed, the things that was wonderful, and then I'm gonna write down all the things that made the relationship not work. Right? So, because a lot of the times we only, like I said this many times, but we only focus on the good times when we're going through a breakup or through pain. We're like, oh, remember all these wonderful things about the person, and we completely ignore the reasons we broke up in the first place. So I'm gonna write those things down, and then whenever I'm just thinking about the good times, I go back to the reasons why we broke. I'm looking at them. This is the reason why it's like this, and it has to be like this. This is why it wouldn't work. These reasons why it wouldn't work. So, and then I remember all those things, and also recovery is to just elevate yourself. Like that's another recovery method. Like you learn from the relationship. You know the things you did wrong, the things they did wrong, and try to analyze everything how you can be better moving forward.
There is one thing I want to mention because we've kind of glossed over a lot of stuff. If any of this is bringing up really painful memories of some of your breakups in the past, we're not trying to say like, hey, you should feel really guilty about all the things that you've done in your past and shame on you and shame on you and guilt and blah. Actually, no, it's not. Like how you did things in the past is how you did things in the past. That's it, full stop. Can you do things better in the future? Of course, because you're continuously growing. You're seeking knowledge. You're trying to do things the right way because karma's a bitch. To put it bluntly, how you treat somebody is how you will be treated eventually. Even if it doesn't hit you right automatically, it's like a wave far out into the ocean. So if you think that by ghosting or orbiting or texting or just blah, like who cares? I don't want to deal with them anymore. And to think that you will never be treated in that way anywhere is very detrimental. So it could be like baby waves slapping against the ocean. Like, oh, they might take your feet out, but you're not going to drown. Versus the giant tide that's growing out in the ocean, the tsunami that's coming for you, ready to knock you off your feet. And sort of pretending like, let me live in this delusion that nothing like this will ever happen to me is, I mean, do you really want to learn that lesson that way? I don't. I like hard lessons because they stick with you and you learn a lot from them, but they don't have to be that hard considering that's the damage you're doing to another person. Like, where is the awareness of that? Do you give a shit at all about other people? At all?
Do you care?
Do you care? And I'm saying this because the more that you have a relationship with breaking up and pain, that becomes the habit. You are more habitually programmed to seek out the worst case scenarios again and again and again. It is just a habit. It's a pattern. It doesn't need to be like that. It can actually be more of a positive, this is what I'm going to learn from this. This is what I'm going to make sure I get this across, that there was love, there was affection, there was caring. It didn't go anywhere, but I can't keep going down this path with this person at this time. Huge distinction between I can't deal with this anymore. I'm in total overwhelm. I feel powerless and helpless. And at least by me being the breaker-upper, I'm instigating some kind of power in my life. I have something to control in my life. Versus the other way, which is like, I'm going to empower both of us through this kind of process. And still like understand, this is going to be painful. This is how I'm going to deal with this. This is how I'm going to take care of myself. And by taking care of myself, take care of this other person through it. That's important. Otherwise, we wouldn't be talking about this. We would just be talking crap about like the worst breakups ever.
Yeah.
What was your worst breakup?
My college breakup.
Did she break up with you? Was it mutual?
I think it was mutual.
Yeah.
No, what happened was I broke up with her, but she was a very unstable person. So you don't really want to break up with unstable people. You know, they might hurt themselves. But so she was like, at one point she was telling me that I'm the reason she's living, like all type of stuff. So I broke up with her, but it was like a lot for her. So we got back together,
Okay.
and I kind of like give her the power to break up with me.
Oh, okay.
'Cause
that was very kind of
Yeah,
you.
so she broke up with me because she felt like she had the power. So it's okay.
Yeah.
I don't mind being the, you know.
The one who's left, kind
Yeah,
of.
yeah.
Like, secretly, you're thinking like,
I was
oh,
hurt,
please.
but I could handle it
Right.
better than she would be able to if I was the one.
Kind.
Yeah.
That's very kind. Dare I even talk about my worst breakup? Okay, full cards on the table. I suck at breaking up with people because in my head, everybody should remain friends all the time.
Yeah.
That there's
No.
no kind of relationship. I didn't know that though. As a young woman growing up, like I automatically think, well, wait a minute, there's still love here. That means that we can be friends and that I can tell you certain things. And the guys that I broke up with, they did not think that way at all. It was just devastation of just like, didn't see it coming. I don't know what I did wrong. Can I make it better? There was crying and begging and a lot of words that were just kind of like, oh God, the more that they went on, the more I was like, oh, this was the right choice. Which is not kind, but it is true. It is very true. So if you've ever had that experience and you can look at the past and just be like, oh, well, I would never treat somebody like that now that I know better. Now that I know what it puts them through. Like being as loving as, so now when I'm thinking about it or I'm coaching somebody, I'm always like, what would love do? You can go through all the different scenarios, but what would love do? That is always going to be your highest calling. Your highest, even if it feels like they cheated on you or they were abusive in some way and you really want to break up with them in a way that is completely humiliating. Like sending people plane tickets and calling them out as they're cheating. Like you might really, really want to do that, but don't, because it might feel satisfactory. It might be like, this is the closure that I need. I need to inflict upon them the pain that they have suffered upon me. It's probably not about them. It's probably about all kinds of suffering through all the various relationships in your past. It's been accumulating over time. It's this giant dark well in your soul that if you have not tended to, it's going to eat you alive. Alive.
Yeah.
Yeah. So be very careful with that. There's different ways to break up. Different ways. And then you move on. Do your recovery methods. Take care of yourself. Get a massage. Talk to your peoples. Tell them what's going on. Like actively say like, I'm going through this right now. And this is very difficult for me. Even if you're the one who's doing the leaving. Like it's really good to elicit your tribe at that point and just be like, hey, I just need X amount of more emotional support right now, just to make sure that I've covered all the bases, that I'm not repressing anything, I'm not holding anything in, I'm not avoiding. And my heart goes out to you, those of you who are being broken up with or doing the breaking up. Like,
But
I have nothing but love for you.
This video is not for the people that's getting breaking up with.
I know, but it kind of is too. Because maybe if there's somebody who's just been broken up with and they're trying to figure out why. Why did they leave?
I feel it.
Yeah. And you can't go to that person. You've tried, you've tried to be like, hey, explain to me, I can do better or whatever. Because you don't, there's usually one person who's doing the leaving. Rarely is it an amicable thing unless you're two older people and you've been in personal development courses for a long time and you have that language skill. You have that communication skill. And even then, it's just like, well, it's a compromise of how do we make this work or continue on the path. Especially if you own a business together, if you have children together, if there's a divorce involved, so there's property involved. Like, it get messy fast. And everybody loves to be litigious these days. It's going to be, I'm going to get a lawyer and I'm going to make sure that they suffer. Suffer. For years, it drags on. And that becomes your habit. The habit of pain and suffering. Don't do that. So if you're planning that breakup, if you're going through the pros and cons of why it won't work, if you know deep in your heart, can't do it anymore, got to do this in a loving way possible, or else it's just going to draw out the agony. What do? We plan. We plan with foresight, thinking best case and worst case scenario, knowing it's going to end up in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
Execute, picking that neutral territory and rehearsing what you're going to say, leading with, I love this about you. This is why it's not working. I wish you all the best. Mm-hmm. And of course, your recovery phase. How are you going to take care of yourself after the dust has settled?
Mm-hmm. Let's go.
Yeah, and all the love and blessings during that process. Heal. Give yourself time to heal. Otherwise, it's just going to be pain. What do they say? They say, how something begins is often how it ends.
Ooh.
Yeah. So have it end well. So the next beginning can begin well. You feel me? Like this is the cycle of good things that just keep growing and growing and growing. Of learning that keeps growing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, guys, that does it for us. You've been listening to Dear Sweet and Low. Our motto here is be good or be good at it. Most of us want to be good at something because everybody has that light and dark, right? Mm-hmm. To be 100% good all of the time is not exactly realistic.
For real.
Yeah. Until next time, have a great day.
Peace.
Peace.